It's not scripture. It's a poem written by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow in 1895, and it has become such a mantra for me in my life. See, the poem starts out, in fact, let me just read it to you because I want you to hear it, and maybe you hearing it, close your eyes, listen to this. Don't close them if you're driving in the car or something like that, but just listen to this poem and tell me what it elicits inside of you, because it turned something in me and it made me realize these notions that I had, they weren't just for me. So the title is Excelsior, and it says, the shades of night were falling fast as through an Alpine village passed. A youth who bore mid snow and ice a banner with a strange device, Excelsior. His brow was sad, his eyes beneath flashed like a falchion from its sheath, and like a silver clarion rung the accents of an unknown tongue, Excelsior. In happy homes he saw the light of household fires gleam warm and bright. Above the spectral glaciers shone, and from his lips escaped a groan, Excelsior. Try not the pass, the old man said. Dark lowers the tempest overhead. The roaring torrent is deep and wide, and loud with clarion voice replied, Excelsior. Oh, stay, the maiden said, and rest thy weary head upon this breast. A tear stood in his bright blue eye, but still he answered with a sigh, Excelsior. Beware the pine tree's withered branch, beware the awful avalanche. This was the peasant's last good night. A voice replied far up the height, Excelsior. At break of day, as heavenward, the pious monks of St. Bernard uttered the oft-repeated prayer, a voice cried through the startled air, Excelsior. A traveler by faithful hound, half buried in the snow was found, still grasping in his hands of ice the banner with a strange device, Excelsior. There in the twilight cold and gray, lifeless but beautiful he lay, and from the sky, serene and far, a voice fell like a falling star, Excelsior. So I want to read you that because when I read that for the first time, I loved the notion. I loved what was happening there because it reminds me of two things come blaring through. And the first one is that don't ever let someone tell you that you can't achieve what you're setting your mind to. See, this boy in there, it says the peasant. He was rags to riches is kind of what I hear whenever I see that. It's like he was lowly. He lived at the bottom of this mountain. He had to go through the mountain village, but everywhere he goes, there was somebody to tell him why he couldn't achieve it, why there was no way he could make it to the top of that mountain, or why he shouldn't go after that thing that was on his heart. But his response was always simply Excelsior. Like, I know what I am going after. And Excelsior in Latin is translated onward and upward. We say all the time, it's kind of a little hand signal. If you're watching on video, we say onward and upward, because I think that we are called to a higher place than where we are now. And in fact, if God's given you a vision for your life that's different than what your current reality is, that means that there is a different version of you that you have to become. And so you have to move through life and level up and go sometimes down through valleys and up on mountain highs and valleys lows and move all through this life to see what it is that God's going, or what God has for you on the other side of the vision that he's given you. But this poem, it spoke so wholeheartedly to me because I couldn't believe how, when I went to start my first business, how many people told me out of the love, maybe a version of love, anxiety, fear that they had for me to fail, that they were encouraging me to do it differently. And I'm here to tell you that fear is a liar, and fear is not going to serve you or the people that God has put on this planet for you to serve. So we have to figure out a way to tune into what God is telling us to go after and to hush the whispers and the lies of the world and the enemy that would only want for you to fail. I'm going to use those words in quotes, fail, because if you were to go after what God laid on your heart, you're already succeeding. You're already taking ground back from him. We're climbing that mountain. Excelsior, baby. We're going to the top. And so the other thing, and I don't want to get lost on this, is that the biggest teach from this poem for me was that he went after it. He achieved it. But what happened? Again, it's the Ecclesiastes aspect of like, what is the point of life? We climbed the corporate ladder. We went after the thing. We did the stuff, but we still all die cold and alone on top of the mountain. If we get to the end of our life and we're on that mountain and we look around, we look left, we look right, and we realize, wait, I'm up here alone. I forgot to bring my family with me. I forgot to bring friends and loved ones. I forgot to be a disciple that made other disciples. And I forgot the actual mission of life.